Calling, the tour conductor kept talking, and the conversation reached the point of why I decided to join this tour. As I mentioned before, Shirley MacLaine's Out on a Limb was the start, and somehow I found the movie version of this book made for a 6-hour TV program at the rental video store near my house, and I rented it without hesitation. It was 2 video cassettes. I returned home, put the first cassette into the video player, and started watching. I had already read the book, so I knew how it went, but watching a dramatized movie played by herself was such a joy. Cassette 1 was enjoyable, particularly when she met 2 trans channels on 2 different continents, and a scene with American Channel Kevin Ryerson was so amazing. This was the first time I saw channeling on TV. It was jaw-dropping amazement. I finished the first cassette delightfully and put the second cassette into the player, and then something unknown started to happen. The second cassette opens with scenes of the valley near Machu Picchu and other remote locations, from lush green rainforest to the Amazon River and the city of Machu Picchu. After those scenes flowed to my TV screen, I suddenly had a strange headache. It was not a migraine or any problem I had before, and it was getting more intense as the movie progressed. My third eye and the core part of my brain felt like they were contracting, and it was like I had a heart beating inside my head. At some point, I felt myself almost being vacuumed up from my body. It was almost like something invisible, a solid force, was pulling me up from my body to take me somewhere. I was so scared of this phenomenon. This unknown, devastating situation frightened me until the movie ended. I don't want to. I want to watch this video. I don't want to go. Please stop this. I almost pulled out of my body at the end, but I clung to my body so hard I did not come out. Anyway, it was so unknown and devastating to have such an experience that it scared me deeply. I was too inexperienced then, not immune to this phenomenon, and had no idea what happened. As I look back, I should have allowed it to happen, and I regret it. After this shocking event, I felt something calling me from there. I must go to Peru and visit Machu Picchu. That is how it started. I had a calling. I did not know what exactly, did not know why, but I knew I had better go there. If I get there, I will know why. I will find something I'm trying to remember now when I get there. So I said to nobody, okay, I want to go there. I'm still determining how and when, but I will go there. Let me know the way I will get there. Please help me to go there. And then something responded. I told my friend I wanted to go to Peru, and he handed me the information immediately. I did not know what would be waiting for me, and we all had no idea what the starting point would be. I got money and vacation time, and I met 36 other people on board, and we jumped into this journey. We landed at San Jose International Airport at just about noon. Getting out of the airplane, the sunshine was more intense and sharp to me, and the air was drier. I felt just right and so open. Visiting California had been one of my dreams since I was 17 or 18 years old. I knew it was a common thought, but I was a little obsessed with being in California. My mom shut the door to being in Long Beach to be trained with the U.S. swimming team when I was 14. My swimming coach wanted another girl swimmer and me to go to Long Beach, Los Angeles, for training, but my mom didn't ask me and said no. I heard this story soon after, and I was so disappointed and cried. I missed a chance to go there to be trained with the U.S. swimming team. I had my first spiritual experience when I was 21. At that time, drafting layouts on white paper, making mechanicals, and some color indications for film separation, everything in the printing process was done by hand. Desktop publishing in the design industry was in the beginning stage. I was a beginner. Sometimes I did not know how to start the layout because of inexperience. Then something extraordinary happened. I faced a big blank layout paper. It was quite a big wonder how to draft a plan. Suddenly I was somewhere else, not in the office. I saw the bright, vibrant blue sky and parades of palm trees from beneath. I saw palm tree leaves moved by the wind, felt the air and smelled the scents. It was so bright and vivid. I don't know how long I stood there, maybe a few seconds, 5 or 10 seconds. I lost track of time, and when I returned, that feeling and atmosphere stayed with me for over half a day. I was in a strange place. At that moment, somehow, I thought it was somewhere in California. Instinctively, I felt I needed to go there. At lunchtime, I visited the tour agency nearby to see how to visit Los Angeles. I had never had an overseas trip before, and later on I wondered how I could move to California. I was obsessed with moving there, but it didn't go well. Young me thought I might have lived there in a past life, perhaps in the 1920s, because I am obsessed with that particular period in America. It may have been crucial for me to understand my life. It was like a movie, a visual message from the future. It was a prophetic vision. The boss called my coworkers and me and then told us to go to the islands of Hawaii. It wasn't California, I misinterpreted it. It was Hawaii, and I did not know how my life was tied to that place. When I look back on this first prophetic vision experience, it was an astral trip from my current perspective, but I had no knowledge or understanding of it at that time. I had some psychic abilities to perceive or receive spiritual visions that had already manifested at that age, but I did not think that way. I had no idea why or how it happened. Strangely, I did not question the experience itself. I didn't think it was crazy, even though I was driven by it for a while. Standing on San Jose's ground relaxed me and soothed my spirit somehow. I felt like I was breathing air more naturally, making me feel pretty and open to waiting for adventure. It was a few hours of transit to Los Angeles. I decided to get out of the terminal. It was a little adventure because I had never done such a thing. The signs were all in English, and I was a bit scared to do so. But I got out of the terminal, walked outside, and saw people from the same tour sitting on the grass, relaxing, talking, and hanging out. I did not know them yet, but felt encouraged because I was not alone. They looked so free, so relaxed, and comfortable with themselves. I had never felt free or open or met people like them. I wanted to be like them, but needed to learn to become free. I just stood beside them and admired their freedom and expression. When I realized that joining this tour was the right choice to get to know these like-minded people with similar interests, it made a huge difference because I made lifelong friends through this tour. After returning to the spacious airport terminal, I met Tadashi for the first time. He came from Tokyo, and his profession was video cameraman working in the commercial industry. I was a graphic designer, and we became friends quickly because our job backgrounds helped. I immediately felt comfortable with him somehow. There was some connection. I did not know what it was then, but it was there for us. Later, we discovered we were set to be roommates for the entire trip. Tadashi has always been beside me from then on. We didn't know why we shared the same room, but it was a significant experience. Tadashi walked through this unknown adventure with me and became an eyewitness to everything that happened to me. We arrived in Los Angeles. There were palm trees, and the leaves occasionally swayed quietly with the wind while we waited for Mr. Edward Mabe to show up. Mr. Edward was tall and a bit stocky. I heard he used to work in the music industry in Hollywood. Since Edward changed his career to trans-channeling, Voice, the most significant spiritual book publishing and event company, invited him to Japan early on. He helped us check into the hotel. My first impression of him was nothing special. He wasn't strange or alien looking or anything. He seemed to be a very ordinary American man. Staying in Los Angeles was hilarious because something unexpected happened that night. At first, the other two gentlemen's hotel rooms had a problem. The door key didn't work, and they could not get into their place for a while. We called the front desk. The manager tried to open it using his master key, but it wasn't working either. Later, another worker came with the toolbox and started drilling out the doorknobs. It made a colossal noise all around, and the child who stayed in the next room began to cry loudly, and the men who stayed in another room started to yell and complain, so it became a big drama for a while. It was bizarre, and I wondered why this happened. It took about an hour to change the critical system to a new one, and watching that scene and all those emotions made Tadashi and me laugh so hard for quite a long time. After that hilarious incident, Tadashi and I quickly prepared for the next day and went to bed. I was tired from a long trip and fell asleep rapidly, but somehow I woke up at 4 a.m. I tried to go back to sleep, but somehow I couldn't. I looked up at the room ceiling for a while without thinking about anything, and I decided to get out of bed and quietly change, then get out of the room to see Los Angeles early morning. I walked through the underground parking lot to the street behind the hotel. A scene from the staircase was far different than daytime. I felt the moist air. It stuck to my skin. Palm trees, colored red by the hotel's neon sign, looked out of this world. A little chilly wind went through me a couple of times, and when I looked up at the night sky, no stars were shining. There was cold, wet blue asphalt, and the road continued far away. Suddenly, I saw a black shadow cross me. I turned back and saw a middle-aged Caucasian couple. The couple got into the red sports car and drove away. Now, the well-rested travelers were beginning to travel to the next destination. I was the same. I just stopped by here to relax and leave soon like them. Shortly later, the sun started to rise from the horizon, and it was a bit cold. The blue sky was getting warmer little by little. It changed color to light gray, and then with the sunlight, it changed from dark blue to purplish indigo blue. We got on the bus at 6 a.m. to the airport. Our next destination was Miami and then Peru. The airplane flew up into the bright, purely white light. We waited for about 2 hours in Miami for transit. During this transition, Tadashi and I walked around the terminal with other tour participants, discussing personal spiritual experiences and New Age matters. Tadashi told us he decided to join this trip because he has been fascinated by ancient civilizations such as Peru, Egypt, and Mesopotamia. Transition time quickly ended, and we entered the next airplane to Lima, Peru. Our flight was on time. We left Miami early in the evening, and out of the window we slowly saw the colors change dramatically from sky blue to pinkish, then to vibrant orange.